Oh my goodness, does tea expire?
How long have you had it?
Lord, only God knows.
Well, I don't know. But let me know when we're ready to get started. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Getting It Wrong podcast, where we embrace our mistakes because getting it wrong is the first step to getting it right. I am your co-host, Gabby.
And I'm Morgan. Let's get started.
Morgan, who got it wrong this week?
Girl, so that's a great question. We're just going to go ahead and start it off with, I don't know if you guys have seen, I saw it on Facebook, but there's like this post going around with this little boy, and he is cooking in his kitchen set. And a lot of people have had negative feedback about it. Like saying that it's insinuating that he's going to grow up and be homosexual or, things of that nature.
Because cooking is homosexual.
Yeah. This is the problem with the world. This is the problem. How does cooking have like a masculinity or feminine? Don't everybody eat? I'm trying to make it make sense.
Everybody eats. Everybody needs to know how to
feed themselves
so they can eat. I don't understand.
Girl, this is what's wrong with the world right there. That's why people's sons don't know how to act, because you're too busy telling them. That's why people's kids in general don't know how to act, because it is.
Mm-hmm.
You worried about the wrong things. Your kids got generational trauma. Your kids don't know how to. He's still trying to learn his ABCs, and he got to worry about this too.
He got to worry about being gay. He's like, I'm just trying to play, please.
I can't even spell gay. You know what I'm saying? Like, let this baby cook in his kitchen set. It's called what's it called? Like imaginative play. That's not right.
No.
Dramatic play.
Okay.
Like, he can play cops and robbers. He can play, what is it?
Shoot 'em up, bang bang. I don't know.
But he can't cook. Like, what is? I'm trying so hard to understand.
I mean, it's very weird because it's just one of those things where I feel like social media just really loves being upset for no reason, because if you look at the picture, it was actually a very masculine cooking set. It was like black and silver, and it looked like a kitchen that anyone would have in their home, and it looked like he was just trying to make him something to eat, like
in his little hat.
Like, come on.
He was so cute. He had that little hat
adorable. On. Did he have a hat on? I can't even remember.
Yeah, it was like a little chef's hat.
I think you're talking about like the TikTok video. So there is, it was actually a post of like a little black boy. Like, oh, were you talking about the same thing?
I think so. And I think he had on a chef. I could have made that up.
Okay, because there was a TikTok with another child on with a chef hat that I remember. It doesn't matter. Either way, y'all are tripping. Calm down. He's not a homosexual because he would like to know how to make himself something to eat, because he wants to play in a kitchen set. Leave kids alone. I think that's the moral of the story.
For real. Like, this baby, he looks all of 5 years old. Like, come on.
More than 5.
Come on. Like, there are so many other things to focus on. Like, and then to put like a gender role in like, how, come on. It's like, it has to do with like gender roles. Like, I'm gonna be real. I do not want to cook and clean every single day. Like, I do clean every day, but because it stresses me out not to have a clean house. It like literally gives me anxiety to have like clutter. And it just like, I can't even sleep if it's clutter everywhere. But I will try my best to meal prep, because I do not want to come home and cook every day. And so to add like a gender role and say like, because I feel like you're insinuating only women or feminine people should be in the kitchen. That's what I'm
Just
getting
not
from it,
true.
which is ignorant. Like, and the reality about, see, like, if you want to get deep into it, like the reality, and this is my opinion, I think gender roles stem from like a biblical sense of, what we get from the Bible is like, okay, you have the man and he's meant to provide, and you have the woman and she is meant to be nurturing. But I mean, this could just be my opinion, but I
Mm-hmm.
honestly feel like God set a template and he was like, this is one way to do things, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, one person's gonna need one thing to do, another person's gonna need another way to do, another thing to do. And basically everybody is going to have to do their part so that the family structure and the household can run.
Mm-hmm.
But he made every
Mm-hmm.
single person different, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that template does not work for everyone. You in your relationship, you are going to have to figure out what works best for you in your relationship. Like, if he, like, okay, so for example, if you have somebody that is extremely talented at cooking and he happens to be a male, which we have so many male chefs, by the way,
Yeah, the
like,
chefs,
come
being a
on.
chef is dominated by males.
Like,
So
come on, for real. Um, so you have so many male chefs. Like, so let's say there's a man and he loves and he just loves cooking. Like, if that's my man, I'm gonna be like, baby, get in there.
I mean, even if he's not a chef,
Go.
I'm gonna give you all a little tip. If you don't like cooking all the time, just make your man believe that he's a better cook than you. Hey,
You're trash for that.
how?
No, for real, that's
Boost.
smart though. You gotta I'm weak. You gotta be like, yes, you'll be doing that.
Yes, like this is so good. Thank you
Hype
so
him
much.
up.
You should
No,
do
for
this more
real.
often.
Like every day. I'm weak. But no, so like, yeah, like if he's talented in cooking, like why would you keep him from doing that? Like, why would you say like, no, that's not your role, so I'm gonna cook and you go work? Like it makes no sense. So at the end of the day, I think the only way your relationship will thrive is if you figure out what role is best for you and what role is best for your partner, and you guys go with that. Because if you don't, you're not going to be happy. So anyway, you can't put roles like gender roles into cooking, and you can't tell a 5-year-old they can't have a kitchen set because it's not masculine enough. I mean, it makes no sense. So I feel like they definitely got it wrong.
Yeah,
Whoever commented that.
right. But it was so many people co-signing it, which was very alarming. But it's
That,
like you
yeah.
said, everyone is different. Like relationships are
Hmm.
not cookie cutter, but yeah, you
Exactly.
just have to do what works for you.
Exactly. Do what works for you. For real. But girl, so also Rihanna might be pregnant.
Oh my gosh, I hope not.
Why?
Well, I mean, if she wants to be perfect, great for her. I'm happy for her. But I mean, just ASAP Rocky though. I mean,
I mean,
if
yeah.
he
If
makes
she
her
happy,
happy, yeah. If he,
exactly.
yeah,
We want it better for you, Ree. But I mean, if that makes you happy,
then my opinion does not matter.
exactly. I feel like she would be a good mommy.
I think so
And I know
too.
nothing about this woman for real,
Me
but I
either.
mean, just based off, how she
She'd
has
be a
the
cute
the
mommy.
niece,
I know that for
she would
sure.
be a cute mommy for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What's her niece? Like Roy? No, I made that up. She has a niece with a
She
cute little
does.
name.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
don't know it.
she's such a good auntie.
Yes, she's a good auntie. Oh, so yes. And by the way, I loved how Rihanna got thick at the same time I got thick. I
Validation.
was like, oh, she's still cute. And I was like, I must still be cute too.
Of course. And that's why people keep saying she's pregnant. She's like, no, I'm just eating good.
Oh, really? She said no. She said she wasn't
Well,
pregnant.
I don't think she said one way or the other this time, but
Mm-hmm.
there have been people saying she's been pregnant in the past, and she's like,
Oh
no.
my God. Mind their business. Mind your business.
Right. But I'm like, she is getting to that age to where I'm sure if she does want children, it's like now is the time. So I wouldn't be
Oh, that's
surprised.
rough. But she's got bank. So at the same time, I'm sure she can find a way.
And she can make it work. She has enough money to make
Mm-hmm.
it work.
For real. Janet, who was it? Janet Jackson? Didn't she have a
Janet
baby at like
Jackson.
girl? Was she
Still
50?
looking good. I think so.
Oh, she
I
playing
think
with people's
so.
heartstrings. She got these
Mm.
she got the old bags thinking they can do something. No, I'm just playing.
Oh my gosh. You are going to be in your DMs like you raggedy. How dare you?
I have to cut that out. No, but why would she do that? She got everybody thinking they can have kids at 50.
And it's so hard being a woman because it's like you do have that internal
Mm-hmm.
clock. It's like it's kind of like you have to choose between like career or family sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes
No,
it
you
works
do.
out, but a lot of the times it's really hard. Like it just doesn't. You just like, wow, I feel like I just I missed that time.
Right. No, but that's a good point because it's like people think that their life is going to be over after like because they had kids, and in some ways I mean, how can you feel like it's not? You're like, this is my whole world. I love these kids so much.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, I have to put everything into them, and you forget who you are and all of that. So it does feel like you're never going to get back to doing what you want to do. But the
But
reality, mm-hmm. We both pointed like,
yeah, it's
but mm-hmm.
did you have something? Okay. I was just gonna say, I feel like the big difference, like between your life being over after pregnancy and it not being over, is community. Because I feel
That's a
like
good
if
point.
you don't have community and you're trying to get through it all on your own, it's like you're not gonna have time to keep your
Mm,
identity. Like everything you have is gonna be poured into making sure this little human, stays alive and is
mm,
protected and is developing properly, and you're teaching them what needs to be taught. And it's if you're doing that
yeah.
by yourself, you don't have time for you. You're not designed to do that kind of stuff by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So if
That's
you
so
do have
true.
community, you need to cherish that so you can keep your identity, because that's super important.
Yeah, and it's so hard. It's so hard to actually realize, like, okay, I really need to start pouring into myself. Like, you'll think about it, but it's hard to like really pull away and try and find time to do that. It's just so difficult. Lord.
But I feel like that's
But
a really good segue into our
mm-hmm.
health and wellness topic for today, which is identity capital. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anyone is familiar with that term, but I feel like it's something that we are all familiar with, because identity capital is basically the personal assets that you attain for yourself that helps you build who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, like, with kids, we help kids build their identity all the time, like putting them in
Yeah.
sports or dance or, just helping them gain skills and talents that can stay with them throughout their life and help
Mm-hmm.
them identify who they are. But it's just as important to keep that going after childhood.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think before you brought that up,
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea what you were talking about when the first time you initially brought it up. So honestly, I feel like we should definitely get into it some more. Like, what are some, I guess, what helped me understand the concept better is thinking about it as kind of like goal setting. So correct me if I'm wrong because I think you've
Mm-hmm.
researched it way more than me.
Mm-hmm.
But what helped me understand it is thinking of like a goal. And one example could be I would like to like for example, I would like next year I'd like to have better mental health. So what kind of experiences and what type of things can I be doing and experiences can I be making sure that I have in order to build that type of identity of a person that has good mental health, um, like overall mental health, right? So one thing you can do is take up meditating, take up journaling, and then you can maybe like start seeing your therapist more or something like that. So those are some experiences and some things that can help you get towards your goal. And those things are building your identity. Those things are building who you are because you are someone that meditates, you are someone that does this and that, and what are words? That that in turn can create someone that has like a good hold on their mental health. So
Yeah, so it's
okay.
basically what you said, but it's like all of these things are who you want to be. So let's say
Mm,
you want to be this type of person. Like you said, I want to be someone who has good mental health. I want to be someone who's physically healthy. I want to be
mm-hmm.
someone who's financially healthy. So you have to make sure that the things that you're doing and experiencing every day are leading you to those things. So it's like you can't say you want to have good
Mm.
physical health, but you don't do anything but eat chips and go out and drink on the weekends. And
I do be
it's
doing
like
that.
you're not, it's like you're not building, right. It's like we all get it wrong, but it's like you're
Mm-hmm.
not building the identity capital of the person that you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and that can go with work as well. It's like, I want to
Mm.
be, it's, you might even not know exactly what you want to be, but you know what you enjoy. So
Mm.
if you have a job offer to be like work at Starbucks, or you have a job offer at, you know, a big tech company or whatever, but let's say you'd probably be like the floater at the tech company, and you're like, I'd make more if I worked at Starbucks than I'd work as working as like a floater at this tech company. But
Dang.
which one would help you build your identity capital? It's like the
Okay.
one working at the tech company, even though it's not in a high
Mm.
paying position, would still help you build your identity capital if you're interested in like,
Mm.
you know, something tech or media related, or, you know, it will help you reach whatever goal you want to set for yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like investing and pouring into these experiences
Mm-hmm.
that create the person you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty dope like idea or concept because
Mm-hmm.
it's like we don't like we say we want to be something, we say we want to be a certain person, and then I guess the concept really makes us think about like what things are we actually doing in our lives to
Mm-hmm.
become that person. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a good point. Oh, that's a good thing about like a good concept to keep in mind when raising kids too. Like not
Mm-hmm.
only like who you want to be, but it's like, okay, I want my child to be a good person. So are we going to do like charity work? Are we going to, things like that?
Mm-hmm.
You might want to go to church more or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, teach them about, um, people that are less fortunate, things like that, that
Mm-hmm.
create a good person. Are you being a good role model for them? Things like
Mm-hmm.
that.
It's like, because being a parent is so hard, because it's like
Oh
you want your child to be a good person, but you can't just tell them to be a good person. You
no.
have to be a good person yourself. I
Yeah,
know parents like saying, do what I say, not what I do. No, ma'am.
it
That
don't
does
work like
not work.
that.
It
It
does
does
not
not.
work. Children do what they see and hear. So if
Mm,
you are not feeding them things that you want them to repeat and things you want them to emulate, they're going to
mm,
do what they see. If you're out here listening to NBA Youngboy and I
who
don't
is
even
that?
know a lot of their names, but what's another one? I don't know.
I know you're not asking me.
What, NBA Youngboy and Lil Baby, like,
Okay.
yeah, I got it. I got one.
Yeah,
But
you got one.
that's what they're gonna be that's what they're gonna be talking about. That's what they're gonna be
Mm,
reciting. That's what they're gonna be.
yes.
And it's like, if that's not what you want, then you have to change what you listen to around them.
Mm-hmm. No, for real. Girl, that's you know what, another thing. I remember I used to feel like Zara was a picky eater, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she still has her moments occasionally. And I was like, man, what happened? My baby won't eat anything but fries or Cheez-Its. And then I started like looking at what I was eating sitting down, and I was like, oh, she
I'm eating
is
fries and Cheez-Its.
just like, oh, she like, and when I started incorporating better foods, like she was kind of like turning them away less. And this was when she was younger, when it was like more acceptable for her to be like, no, no, you know.
Mm-hmm.
At this age, I'm gonna be like, girl, I don't care what I ate. You're gonna have to.
No,
No,
that is
but
not how it
still,
works. No.
no, you're right. You're right. Um, no, but I started eating healthier. I started trying to put more vegetables on my plate, and then I started realizing she was doing the same thing. So even now, that is something that I need to be doing. But that's a great point. Like they're emulating everything that you're doing. And if you want them to be healthy eaters, have good habits, you have to have those good habits, and you have to think about what identity capital, you know, what experiences will be like helpful for them to actually turn into that person you want them to be. So that's a
Yes.
great concept.
So I have a question for you. So what in
Mhm.
the upcoming year, what goal do you want to set and what experiences do you want to have to build your identity capital? I didn't ask that right. Like what area in your life would you want to
Mm-hmm.
build identity capital in?
Mm. Oh, so many things. Um, Mental health for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm like, oh, what experiences could I make sure I'm having? I mean, honestly, I named some. I could take time because I have like started slacking when it comes to journaling and making that time for myself to actually think about like my mental health and
Mm-hmm.
making sure I am like I want that for myself and for Zara. So that's a great point. Mental health is one for sure, and
Mm-hmm.
physical health. I want
Mm-hmm.
to feel like I'm in great because you can really truly feel the difference when you stop working out and eating right. You can, well, when you stop, you feel it less, but then once you get back on it, you notice you're like, wait a second, like I could have
Why
felt
can't
like
I
this all
breathe?
the time, right?
Oh, I thought you were saying like when you get back started, you're like, oh my God.
No, that's another thing though. That is another part of it because you're like, man, last time I checked, I could still do like 10 push-ups and you're like, but then once you start like getting the flow of things again, you're like, oh my goodness, I feel amazing. So yeah, you start feeling like more energized, less tired. You can
Mm-hmm.
feel the difference once you actually get back into it. But what about you?
What about me? So I really want to get my physical and financial health in order.
Mm,
Yes.
financial financial health. That's a good word for it.
Yes. Financial health because it's a
Mm,
journey really, especially when
mm,
the pandemic and then ups and downs with your finances, and then when you're helping like run a business, and then the business has ups and it has downs, and when it has ups you feel
mm.
like you're rich and you spend money, but then when it goes back down you're like, dang, I should not have spent all that money. And
Yeah.
it's just like being consistent with money and having
Mm,
clear goals and budgets. That's what
mm.
I want for myself for the new year. And I need to really buckle down and get started because I don't have to wait till January to get started.
No, that's a
I can
great
track my
point.
spending now.
Right. You sure can. And you can listen to like financial podcasts. You
Mm-hmm.
can listen to or audiobooks, things like
Mm-hmm.
that to just start getting you in the right mindset because like what you feed yourself is truly like you're, like it's like what you reap, you sow. Like the things you're consuming, you will start to pour those things out as well.
Mhm.
So when you are consuming, things about good financial health, things about good mental and physical and spiritual health, your body will just like naturally exude those things. You will naturally,
Yeah.
it's like, feed yourself the right things. Feed yourself the right things.
Oh, and I did I forgot to mention spiritual health. And that's my problem.
Mm,
I always think of, it's not like the
mm,
first thing that comes to my mind, and I want it to be the first thing that comes to my mind. I want God to be the first person that I go to whenever
mm,
I'm feeling happy, sad,
mm,
anything. I want God to be my first line of defense or my first
mhm,
whatever. And I'm embarrassed to say that it's like my last thought a lot of the times.
mm.
So like it'll be
No?
like at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, you know what? I should pray, or like, or like,
Mm.
like stuff like that. Like
Yeah,
I really
yeah.
want to have a closer relationship with God
Mhm.
in
That's a
2024.
good one. Yeah, yeah. Like, yeah, I mean, don't be down on yourself because it's easy to like get into your everyday and not even think about like the things that are really important. It's so easy to be like going with the motions, like
Mm-hmm.
because life is so hard. You have kids, you have work, and it's like it's so easy to just forget like what are my goals? Like you're like I'm waking up, going to sleep, waking up, going to sleep, waking up, going to work, taking care of kids, and you're like, oh wait, I'm supposed to have goals and I'm supposed to achieve something. Like it's hard.
It's so hard.
So that's no, that's a great point. And honestly, I feel like it's easy for me to say it because I mean, I understand this concept. I don't always apply it, but take it like little by little, slowly build like good habits, like one day at a time, like they say take it one day at a time. So
Mm-hmm.
like I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna start like a devotional and I'm gonna meditate. I think it's something called like the first 15 minutes of your day. You take
Mm-hmm.
like 5 minutes to pray, 5 minutes to meditate, 5 minutes for praise. Those types of things like make such a huge difference in like how your week will be. Like even if
Mm-hmm.
you do it like once or twice a week, you're gonna be like, oh, I just feel so spiritually sound. Like, what is this?
And I need to, because you know how when life changes, like your routines have to change.
Oh my
And I feel like
gosh.
I used to have the Bible app like on my phone, like I would read it
Hmm.
every morning, and then something changed and I couldn't do it and I kind of fell off. I never
Girl.
redid my routine. Like you don't realize how often you
Yes.
need to redo your routine, because if you keep trying to keep the same routine and your life has changed, it's not going to work.
No, seriously, that's a great point. Because I remember I had the Bible app. Well, I mean, I still have the Bible app. It's just that I had like, you know how on the app they have streaks? Like, girl,
Mm-hmm.
my streaks, I had like 150 weeks on that thing. I was doing it.
Dang,
I
you
was like every
were.
day. I was like, I'm thinking back now, like I had to be cheating and just opening it and closing it. I had to because ain't no way. I was on
uh,
top of it like that. Not how life is going now. I can't even imagine. But yeah, that's a great point because like now I'm like, how was I even doing that? Like, so your routines do change, and it's like you kind of have to check in with yourself, and that's why I like stuff like the New Year. While it seems silly, like ooh, New Year, new me is getting old hearing that kind of thing, but like it kind of refreshes your brain. Like, oh wait, I do need to set some goals. So
mhm,
it is kind of like a good reminder in a lot of ways.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. It's just like
Girl.
we don't want people just waiting to start in January. Like, no, you can start.
No, right, right. You can start
You can start
now,
now.
but it's good to have that reminder. So, like, yeah.
But I do want
Girl.
to take it back to the identity capital. I know we kind of got
Hmm.
sidetracked. It's fine. It's what we do. But
Yes.
I do want to talk about this book that I read. It's called The Defining Decade by Meg Jay. She's a clinical psychologist.
Mm.
And when she was talking about the defining decade, she says the defining decade is in your 20s, but it doesn't have to be in your 20s. Like some people's defining
Hmm.
decade could start in 28 to
Mm.
38, or 25 to 35. But the 20s is, she does say that the 20s is one of the most important times to build your identity
Mhm.
capital, because it sounds kind of like gloom and doom, but it's not really. But the older you get, the less options you have.
Hmm.
And that's just life. But
Mhm.
and if you don't build your identity capital in your 20s, it's going to be much more
Mhm.
difficult for you the older you get.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And she was giving an example of uh, a student. No, he graduated and he didn't know what to do with his life.
Mhm.
And his parents, they had good intentions. They always told him he can be whatever he wants to be, do whatever he wants to do. But
Mm.
when you're in your 20s, like that can be very detrimental. Even though it's said in good faith, it can
Mhm.
be very detrimental to you, because the more options you have, the less likely you are to make a decision.
Mm. Hmm.
That's just human nature. And it's also not true, because you don't have as many options as you think you do. And the longer you,
Dang.
it's true, you don't have as many options as you think you do, because if you really think about all these options you think you have, if you really think it through,
Mm.
you're like, okay, it honestly wouldn't make sense for me to do this, or make sense for me to do this. It's like once you know who you are and build your identity capital, it could bring you closer to the correct decision of what you
Mm.
need to make. And you were saying that you don't have to do just one thing, which is true. And
Yeah.
that's what she said as well. And she was like, but you have to choose something. You can't just be out here just like blowing in the wind because you feel like you have so many options. You have to choose something and build your identity capital. And if you feel like it's not something that you want to do, you can move on to something else. But if you never chose something to begin with, like you haven't built any identity capital to do anything else, you just be
That's
starting
a,
from you just be starting from zero.
that's a good point. Okay. Okay.
And so she gave this example of like the jam experiment. And there was a table with 24 options of jam you could buy, and there was another table with like 6 options of jam that you could buy. And even though the jam with all the different options, it was so cute, so pretty, so many different options, almost no one bought anything from that table because it was too many options. More people bought from the table that where there were 6 options, because it was easier for them to make a decision. Right now is a good time for us to take a break, and we
True.
can have a quick listen for our sponsors and get our audio together. Pregnancy is one of the most vulnerable times in a woman's life. In a world full of uncertainty, Amazing Grace Ultrasound helps make things clear. Are you unsure if you're pregnant or not? Amazing Grace Ultrasound has pregnancy confirmation ultrasounds. Do you want to know the gender of your baby? You can get a gender blood test as early as 7 weeks. Are you curious about what your baby will look like? Amazing Grace Ultrasound uses state-of-the-art technology to offer 3D, 4D, and HD ultrasound. At Amazing Grace Ultrasound, they don't just do ultrasounds, they create memories. Just look at the reviews, they speak for themselves. Go to www.amazinggraceultrasound.com to check out their packages and book your appointment today. All right, we're back, and we wanted to end our segment with some takeaways. And one of the takeaways we want to leave you all with is make sure that the choices that you make align with the person that you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
don't
then
be out here drinking and smoking every weekend talking about you want a 6 pack.
right. And eating out every day. That one from
Right.
me. For real. Yes. And then, yeah, just overall making sure that you are investing your time into things that are actually creating or making you the person you want to be. So, and that can go for you, and it can go for how you're raising your kids as well,
Mm-hmm.
if you have them.
Yes, and invest in you. Invest
Amen.
in you because
Yes.
at the end of the day, you're all you got.
Hmm. That's not true. You have others. You have
Okay,
me.
but okay, technically you have others, but literally at the end of the day, you're the one that's living in your body.
Hmm.
So you have to invest. You have to invest in it.
Yeah, you got to take care of you.
Yeah,
That's
take
true.
care of you. It's like, yeah, you'll have others around you, but you only got one you. You only got one body. Take care of
I
it.
know that's a crazy thought. You only have one body. It's like what you have to take care of it. It's like if you get like a car or something, and it's like, man, I really have to get this thing oil changed every few months. That's how you know I don't do mine right.
You're like,
What is
how
it?
often?
What y'all be doing? um, no, but for real, and it's like, okay, if something happens to that car, it's like you could get a new car, but like think about your body. Like if something happens to your body,
It's
that's it.
over.
That's the
Yes.
only one you get.
Only you can save yourself.
It's
So
not a rental, y'all.
it's not.
Yes.
I mean, nowadays, people are buying all kinds of things, doing all kinds of stuff to their
Mm,
bodies. So shoot, you might be
yeah.
able to take something out and put some back. I don't
Hmm.
I don't know what I'm talking about. No.
That's how you know we getting tired. We start getting
We're so tired.
no, for real. Even though I had extra coffee today, girl, I was tripping.
Okay. And I feel like after a certain amount of copies, it just stops working
For real,
for
girl.
me. I'm like, it doesn't make,
Yeah.
after a certain amount, like it just doesn't matter.
I feel you. I could sometimes that happens, and then other times, like tonight, I started drinking
You
some
like,
more coffee, and I was walking around Target like I was tweaking.
oh my gosh. If you are not watching us, you
Oh
need to
yeah,
watch us on YouTube.
you
Because
gotta.
a lot of the stuff that we're doing and saying, like, it just makes it 10 times
Yeah.
funnier or makes it make a little bit more sense if you watch us
Yeah.
on YouTube. Just type in Getting It Wrong Podcast in YouTube and we should pop up.
Mhm. Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
and of course, I have to get into the spiel. If you have any questions or if you want to give suggestions on what you want us to talk about, you can get in
Mm.
contact with us at gettingitwrongpod@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at gettingitwrongpod and on Twitter _gettingitwrong. I mean, our Twitter's suffering a little bit, but maybe if you followed us,
You gotta get
we'd
on
get on
that.
it more.
True.
um,
Mm-mm-mm.
Yes, we're doing our best. And I'm so happy that you guys are on this journey with us.
Yes, and y'all actually be listening. I'm like,
You
oh,
do. Thank you for all the support.
we appreciate
We
you.
really do. We really do. Um, someone tweeted us, not tweeted us, on
Repost it.
Instagram. Yeah, they reposted us and they said all the holistic mommies get into it, get into the Getting It Wrong podcast because we're all about holistic wellness. What was
Mm.
her name? I really want to shout her out on the podcast because she deserves it. She's been giving us so much support. Let's
Yes,
pull
I
it
want to
up.
find her. I'm looking too. Her name is Body by Bree _, on Instagram.
Body. How do you
Body.
spell it? Because it's spelled BAWDEE by BY Bree BREE __. Shout out to you, girl. We love you.
Yes. That was so sweet.
And all right, we are gonna shut it down because we are getting delirious. See you next time. Stay tuned.
Bye.